Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, please brace yourselves, as today we will be going over 3 types of local mollusca from each of the 3 main classes of phylum Mollusca. The first creature that we will be taking a look at is the blue mussel that is part of the bivalve class. The blue mussel is classified as the Mytilus edulis. It belongs to the kingdom Animalia, the phylum Mollusca, and the class Bivalvia. It is related to snails, squids, octopi, and other mollusks. Within the class Bivalvia, it is related to clams, oysters, scallops, and other types of mussels. Some of the major characteristics that make the blue mussel part of the mollusca class include its soft body being protected by a hard shell, which is made up of 2 hinged parts, a bilateral system, which means its body is symmetrical along a central line, which allows it more efficient movement, along with a muscular foot that allows it anchoring and also limited movement. It also has a mantle and a mantle cavity. The mantle produces the shell and lines the shell's inside, aiding in shell formation and respiration. And lastly, it has an absence of radula because it filter feeds particles from the water. Specific adaptations that are characteristics of the class it is in include the ability to anchor itself using strong byssal threads, a protective bivalve shell, efficient filter feeding mechanics, specialized siphons for water intake and waste expulsion, and reduced mobility. The blue mussel mates by broadcast spawning. After fertilization, the eggs become free swimmers. These free swimmers drift in the water column and undergo several developmental stages. Eventually, they settle onto suitable rocks and go through metamorphosis into juvenile mussels before eventually growing into adults. During a single spawning event, a single female can release hundreds of thousands to millions of eggs into the water column, while males can release vast quantities of sperm to fertilize these eggs. Blue mussels do have larval stages, yet they do not care for their young. Blue mussels typically consume phytoplankton, microscopic algae, and other organic particles suspended in the water column. As mentioned before, blue mussels are filter feeders. But where do they live? Blue mussels live in coastal waters worldwide, mainly in subarctic regions of the northern hemisphere. Their habitat requirements include man-made structures like docks where they can fasten on. They need clean water with enough oxygen and moderate water flow. They attach themselves securely and filter feed to get food. Blue mussels interact with the environment by cleaning out water by filtering out tiny particles like plankton. They also create homes for other marine animals by attaching themselves to surfaces. They also recycle nutrients in the water and prevent coastal erosion through their attachment. Blue mussels are an important meal worldwide for humans. They are very striking and can survive in very rough seas. This is what makes them so interesting.
The next species we will take a look at comes from the gastropod class, the pink abalone. The pink abalone belongs to the phylum Mollusca and the kingdom Animalia. It is related to red abalone, black abalone, white abalone, and green abalone. Major characteristics that make the pink abalone a mollusk include its soft body being protected by a shell, a mantle that secretes the shell, and a bilateral system.
It also possesses a radula for feeding,
a muscular foot for movement, and gills for respiration. Being part of the gastropod class, the pink abalone has a few special traits that are typical for this group. It has a spiral shell for protection and movement. During growth, it twists its body into position, its head for better feeding and movement. Using its strong foot, it sticks to rocks and moves along the ocean floor. Some features are specific only to the pink abalone. They're typically medium-sized with a shell ranging from 4 to 7 inches. They feature a distinctive pink coloration and a prominent ridges. In the mating process, pink abalone use broadcast spawning to mate. During spawning events, a female pink abalone can release tens of thousands to millions of eggs. Pink abalone have larval stages but do not care for the young. They eat kelp and drift algae. To eat the kelp, they clamp down on it with their foot, and they eat algae through the radula, which is filter feeding. Pink abalone are found along the Pacific coast of North America, from Point Conception, California, to Bahia de Santa Maria, Baja California Sur, Mexico. They occupy sheltered waters at depths between 100 to 20 feet and like living in rocky reefs in areas with giant kelp beds. Pink abalone are a very endangered species that can live up to 30 years. Its shell is beautiful and produces pearls. Pink abalone are extremely strong. When touched by a sea star, it twists violently to dislodge the intruder and then gallops off, abalone style. The Pacific red octopus belongs to the kingdom Animalia, the phylum Mollusca, and the class Cephalopoda. These unique creatures are related to vampire squids. Some characteristics that make them a mollusca include its soft bodies, highly developed sensory organs, and a radula. Some specific adaptations to the Cephalopoda class include losing their outer shell over time, an adapted, heightened sense of intelligence, a talent for hiding, and strong, flexible arms. Some facts specific to their species include they can fit their entire body through a hole the size of a quarter, they can change their skin in the fraction of a second, and they can expel a reddish-brown ink to disorient predators. They can camouflage themselves to hide, and they also can use learning skills to make tools out of ordinary objects. They also use coral to barricade their dens. The octopi mating process is very unique. In late winter and early spring, the males perform a variety of displays to attract female attention. The males have a modified arm for passing sperm packets to the females to fertilize eggs. The male dies after mating. In one event, there can be up to 5,000 offspring produced. These offspring do have larval stages. The female octopus will protect and groom eggs until the larvae hatch, 6 to 8 weeks later. After this, the female dies. They do not care for their young. Red octopi eat small crabs, other crustaceans, mollusks, and fish. They usually forage at night and then retreat to their den to eat in leisure. They kill their prey with venom before cracking the shell with their sharp beak. They inject chemicals that separate the crustacean's body from its hard shell. After eating, they put its shell outside their den. This is known as the octopus garden. Red octopus live in kelp forests, sandy mud bottoms, rocky areas, under stones at low tide in the Gulf of California. They are common from Alaska to Baja California and are found along the continental shelf at a depth of 600 feet. Red octopus need very salty saltwater to survive. They live in a variety of habitats, including shallow, subtidal zones when just hatched, kelp forests when they are juveniles before migrating offshore and settling on the seafloor, sandy seafloors when they are adults, sheltered under rocks and sandy seafloors up to 600 feet in depth. Red octopus interact with their environment by changing their color and texture to match their surroundings. They are a very important part of the reef food web. Octopus are considered the most intelligent invertebrate, maybe as intelligent as a house cat. They are known for their ability to change color, texture, and shape to blend in with their environment. They are ancient, with the earliest known fossil dating back to 296 million years ago. They can regrow their limbs. After mating, the male dies. Females can produce about 56,000 fertilized eggs, but have a survival rate of just 1%. These are just a few things that make the red octopus so interesting.